Hi, hello, I'm in Japan. This is why this is probably the weirdest video we've done. We're going to be talking about Swampert, which is a water ground type Pokemon. It will be poison Tera type. It will have the hidden ability Damp, which is completely useless for this raid, unless Damp changed in Gen 9, which I don't think it did. We have ultimately a mixed attacker with Swampert with 110 attack and 85. I say mixed attacker because it does get a really good variety of both physical and special type moves. It's not weak to grass. It will be weak to psychic and ground, and oh, it is just psychic and ground. Never mind. Just psychic and ground. And I do expect it to be more on the physical side. But let's go through Swampert's moves real quick. Personally, I think it's probably going to go the bulk up route, and the reason I think it's going to go bulk up is because I think it I would assume when they're building this, they want to just point at the fact that Mega Swampert is a thing. So when you look at Mega Swampert, you're like, oh yeah, look at him bulk up. So that makes sense. We also just saw Curse with Meganium, so I feel like them doing Curse relatively soon afterwards. And then we just saw Amnesia with Venusaur. The last time we saw bulk up on a Pokemon was Cinderace, which I think was the second Pokemon they ever did. So I think that's the route they're going. Let's talk about our first Pokemon is going to be a Spathra with the ability Opportunist. If you don't know what Opportunist does, it will copy stat boost by the opponent. So we do expect Swampert to either have Curse or bulk up, or what's the last one? Amnesia. Curse and bulk up are ultimately the same. I don't know why it would Curse instead of bulking up, because they both increase attack and defense, except Curse lowers speed. We already outspeed Swampert with almost every Pokemon, so that doesn't matter if it lowers its speed. If it's going to use bulk up, Opportunist is going to copy that, which is really cool. For Espathra, we're going to do Modest with 252 HP, 100 defense, and 156 special defense. Espathra gets two things that are really cool. Number one is it gets Psychic Terrain. Psychic Terrain will boost all Psychic type attacks as long as the Pokemon is grounded. That will come in important later. So when a Pokemon is touching the ground and it uses a Psychic type attack in Psychic Terrain, it will get a 30% damage increase. You will also still get your same type attack damage increase. So because Spathra is a Psychic type, moves like Lumina Crash or Psychic or Expanding Force would get its same type attack bonus boost. Lumina Crash is pretty much like Acid Spray, except Psychic. So it will lower the special defense for the entire team to do even more damage on top of doing more damage for being in Psychic Terrain. How I would play Spathra is if somebody else can Reflect, that's great. If no one can Reflect, you're going to want to Reflect first, which is really weird because a lot of our Pokemon know Reflect. So somebody should Reflect, but Reflect is there just in case no one has it. And then Espathra should use Feather Dance at least once, and then switch over to Lumina Crash. I wouldn't Psychic Terrain until everyone is ready, because Psychic Terrain only lasts 5 turns. So ideally, you probably just want to get to Tera, or have somebody else Psychic Terrain, but you're pretty much going to... you can't Feather Dance with Shield Up, so somebody sets Reflect, you Feather Dance, Lumina Crash to build your Tera, Psychic Terrain when everyone's ready, and then you'll be able to do big damage there. And then the ability will be able to copy any stat changes. So that's general premise of how to play a Spathra. Our next Pokemon here works really great with a Spathra, and that is going to be Lunala. Lunala has a really cool ability, which is called Shadow Shield. Shadow Shield is going to reduce damage taken when the HP is full. So in order to get full HP, we're going to use the Shell Bell. And because our HP is crazy high, 137, and our special attack is crazy high, 137, we're going to be able to do big damage. Shell Bell is going to replenish our HP. Just for comparison, to look at these stats, 680 base stat total, going through a Spathra is 481. Lunala literally has 200 more base stats, technically 199, than a Spathra. Lunala resists poison, which isn't that big of a deal. Lunala is only weak to one possible move, which is going to be Knockoff. Now, Knockoff doesn't work in raids. It will still do base 65 damage, but it won't actually knock off the item. Just doesn't work for the raid boss to do it to you. So I don't think Swampert would have that. Even if it does, Lunala is still going to be fine behind a Reflect. All these Pokemon will be really fine behind a Reflect. We're going to do For Lunala, 252 HP, 16 defense, 240 special attack. Lunala also gets access to Will-O-Wisp. So you can open up with Will-O-Wisp to burn Swampert, because we do think it's primarily going to be a physical attacker. And then, again, we have Reflect, and then we're going to use Expanding Force. Lunala cannot set Psychic Terrain like some of the other Pokemon. So with pairing with Espathra will set Psychic Terrain and then Lumina Crash, and that will just lead to Lunala doing huge damage with Expanding Force. As Espathra is setting up, we can still Will-O-Wisp to then reduce the damage, so setup is even easier. Dawn Wings Necrozma is pretty similar to this, except I don't think its ability is as good as Shadow Shield, and it also doesn't get access to Will-O-Wisp. But it is an alternative, except you already need Lunala to get Dawn Wings Necrozma, and you need Necrozma, so I think you're just better off using Lunala. Better ability, and access to Will-O-Wisp. And pairs really well with the Espathra. Our next Pokemon is going to be Cresselia. Cresselia will be able to also set Psychic Terrain. But just a side note here, because I know somebody's going to type this up in the YouTube. Cresselia can't take advantage of Psychic Terrain because it's levitating. You need to be grounded. You need to be touching the ground. That's okay, though. Our Cresselia is pure support. So it's going to have Light Clay with Reflect and Light Screen. Those will last 8 turns. This will be our primary reflector. So a lot of Pokemon, like even Lunala, had Reflect. But if there's a Cresselia on your team, Cresselia should open with Reflect and do that first. It is possible that Swampert will have 1 or 2 special type moves, like maybe Sludge Wave or Hydro Pump. Light Screen will take care of that. If there are no special type moves, then we don't even need Light Screen at all on Cresselia, but this is just in case it does. Psychic Terrain, obviously what I just talked about. Psychic Terrain to boost everyone's Psychic type damage that is standing next to you. And then you're pretty much going to end up spamming Lunar Blessing, which is going to keep everyone super healthy. Also, if we don't need Light Screen, we can switch out for Helping Hand or Safeguard. Because it is a poison Tera type and it will probably have Poison Jab, Safeguard would prevent against being poisoned. That works out really well. I don't think I need to explain how to play Cresselia, but you're pretty much going to open with screens. You're going to heal in between, and then when damage is ready to be done, you can set the Psychic Terrain. So no need to attack at all with Cresselia. You could put Psychic on it, but again, you're just better off playing support. Like Helping Hand is going to do way more help than you just spamming Psychic. So you don't actually need to Tera Cresselia at all either, so that doesn't matter. No reason to Tera. Our next Pokemon is going to be Weirdeer, which has a great ability for this raid, which is Intimidate. It's going to lower the physical attack of Swampert when it comes in, which is awesome. We're going to do 252 HP, 220 special attack, and 36 speed with a quiet nature. Now that is really weird because we're lowering its speed, but then we're putting some speed EVs back in. How natures work is it gives a plus 10% and a minus 10%. So because its special attack is 105, that's more of a 10% on 105 than a negative 10% on 65. And we do actually want Weirdeer to be a mixed attacker here. So Psy Shield Bash is its signature move, and that will do Psychic type damage with an attack stat of 105. So we don't want to lower its attack because we're going to use Psy Shield Bash maybe once or twice. We're going to use it just to increase our defense and once or twice and to build Tera. And then we're going to use Lunge to lower Swampert's physical attack. And then when someone else, because Weirdeer can't do this, but when somebody else sets Psychic Terrain, we'll be able to do big damage with Expanding Force. So Psy Shield Bash and Lunge are there for support. And then when everyone is set up, Expanding Force is going to do that huge damage. We also do get access to Reflect, although we do have a lot of Reflectors already. And we get 2 other moves that will be situational depending on your playstyle. We have Role Play and we have Skill Swap. If somebody brings a Pokemon that's not particularly great, you can Skill Swap and give it Intimidate. And then that will give it a free Chilling Water, or just like a free Intimidate. And then you can skill swap it back. So then another Intimidate will happen. So anytime you skill swap, Intimidate, and then skill swap it back, it's going to activate the Intimidate over and over. So you can just kind of use this as you would a Chilling Water or another move like Charm, but it works through a Raid Shield because it's an ability. So Charm wouldn't work through a Raid Shield, but Chilling Water and Intimidate would. The other thing you could do is Roleplay. So Roleplay would copy somebody else's ability and give it to you, so it doesn't take it away. So you could Roleplay Lunala's ability, and when you have full health, you have that huge damage reduction. So this works really great with the Pokemon we just talked about, Cresselia. So if you have a Cresselia, a Lunala, and a Weirdeer on your team, you can roleplay the Cresselia, and then you can roleplay the Lunala to get its ability, and then Cresselia will keep healing everyone, giving you full health, giving Lunala full health, and then the ability of Shadow Shield will keep activating, meaning it will reduce all of that damage over and over. So none of your Pokemon will die, ideally, unless something crazy happens, like it bulks up to like +6 or like instantly and then just one-shots you. That hasn't happened yet, but maybe. But anyways, that's like the combo we came up with, which I think is really cool. But yeah, we don't want to lower attack, we don't want to lower special attack because we are kind of using both. So we lower speed a little bit, and then we add 32 back to speed creep Swampert. This was the best case scenario because its speed is already so low that reducing 10% and then adding back 32 is still better than reducing any of our other stats. So it actually works out really well here. And then we do end up being 1 point faster than Swampert. And then we're only doing 5 Pokemon, I think, because I'm recording this at 2 a.m. in Japan. So our 5th Pokemon is going to be Quagsire. And we're doing Quagsire instead of Clodsire because I've recently learned that a lot of people think that Clodsire has no weakness. No, because Clodsire is poison and ground, it is still weak to ground. Ground does not resist ground. Poison is weak to ground. So there's a high possibility that a ground type Pokemon like Swampert will have access to like Earthquake or something, and that will do a lot of damage to Clodsire, which is weak to ground. Quagsire is only weak to grass, and there's no way that Swampert can learn any grass type moves. So Quagsire will be bold with 252 HP, 176 defense, 80 special attack. It's going to be Acid Spray. So our Espathra, our Weirdeer, our Lunala could do more damage. Our super effective move will be Earth Power. So we can do damage. We also have Chilling Water to control attack. And then our last move can either be Haze, Mist, or Helping Hand. If Swampert gets out of control with its stats, which again, it doesn't really have a lot of stats it can really do, besides Curse, Bulk Up, or Amnesia, you could Haze that away. It does get access to Screech or Supersonic, which Supersonic is bad. I guess it could use it. It's 55% accuracy. We could Mist if it's going to be a Screech user. That would prevent our stats. Let me just double check on Mist here. It's very late. Mist should prevent a user's stats cannot be changed. So if we see Swampert using Screech, then we'll want to set up Mist. I also think that Cresselia can learn Mist as well. So we can use Mist to prevent the Screech drops. Although if it doesn't have Screech, then we don't have to worry about Mist at all. And then our final move could also be Helping Hand. Quagsire is not a big damage dealer here. It's mostly here to like flip between Acid Spray and Chilling Water. That's kind of it. It does really well though behind a Reflect. It will need a Reflect user, but literally the other 4 Pokemon I talked about can learn Reflect, so that shouldn't be a problem. So yeah, there's 5 Pokemon. I won't. Usually at the end of this, I say come over to the Twitch stream and we'll be able to help you out. But I'm in Japan this weekend, so I will be able to help you out on the 2nd week of Swampert. But I'm here for Pokemon Go Fest, so no help. But if you need help, I'm sure our Discord will be doing it. So I'll have my editor insert the Discord here on the screen, and that'll be cool. Otherwise, yeah. Thanks for watching. Thanks for making it to the end. I'm sure there'll be. I don't know how this is going to be edited, so figure it out. But I appreciate you making it to the end and clicking the like button, hit subscribe, all that stuff. All right, bye. How do I stop stream? Also, this country doesn't have Tums. Again, another small thing. They have no Tums here. Tums does not exist. Also, Japan lied to me. You guys got me ranting now at 2 a.m. There was a there was a place called American Pharmacy. And I was like, oh, let's go to American Pharmacy. I would love to see what they have. It was just a Japanese pharmacy. It was literally it was no different than any other pharmacy I've been to. Except they did have Tylenol, but it was like a weaker strength Tylenol or something like this. Tox was telling us about how. Were the prices 10 times as more? Because it was American? No, they didn't wear cowboy hats. No, the prices were not 10 times as more. Should have been.